Have you recorded?
Go, Sarah.
Oh, me. Well, welcome back, everyone. If you've seen the last episode or the first episode, the previous episode, that was our first go at one of these. We are a bunch of people who are coming together to talk about TASA and other things that are affecting anyone who's interested in freedom and truth across this great country of ours. And we are just getting together to sort of talk a little bit about TASA specific stuff, but also about anything else that kind of takes our fancy. Um, we would encourage people to listen and to take part. If you have any suggestions about topics that you might like to hear us talk about, you can email seagull4451@outlook.com. That will reach us. We had one suggestion from the last show for an outside guest, one of the influencers that many of us know. Not saying no to that, just give us a couple of weeks to kind of bed this in because we're still learning what we're doing here. The aim is ultimately to open it up to a live audience so that questions can be asked on the fly and we can talk about things on the fly. We've got some guests that are lined up over the next few weeks. Next week, I think we've got Natalie from Darwin on the show to talk about how they have gone about setting up their local assembly towards having elections. So it's a different way of doing it, how they've done it. They have a mixed assembly. They've got some people reconveyed, some not. So it's an interesting way of doing it, which I know quite a few assemblies are grappling with. So that might be a good one for people to tune into. Yeah, we're not saying that we're here knowing everything. Absolutely not. We're learning as well, but it's a good place to kind of sound out some discussions. And with that, I am going to shut up and let someone else talk.
Okay, I'll talk. Um, so we did introduce ourselves last week. We're going to quickly do it again. I'm Wayno. I'm on Darwin, up the top of the country. And yeah, that'll do. That's who I am. So, Alan, do you just want to say a couple of words about who you are and what you stand for?
Yeah, mate, Alan on Serena, coordinator on Serena at the moment. What I stand for, mate, freedom and truth. That's me. Oh, you.
Suzanne, can you tell us a little bit?
Yep, I'm Suzanne on Victoria. I'm about 500 metres from where Sarah lives currently. We're both sharing the dismal weather here today, typical Victoria. Had a pretty typical youth, very blessed, no dramas in it at all. But my favourite question in life is why. And so I'm here for the truth as well. That's it.
It's a very good question. Ray, over the West, do you want to tell us a couple of sentences about who you are?
Very quickly, Ray on Western Australia, grew up in a traditional home and school and learned so much about how the world really works and pretty much had just about all of it nutted out by the turn of the millennium. But around 2012, when I came across the birth certificate fraud, and I knew the Vatican was corrupt from before that, but when I saw just how they've done it with capital letters and an estate and everything like that, that blew my mind. And I felt that I had to add this to my collection. I yield.
So there you go. We're scattered all over the country. We've been brought together by one common cause, and that's TASA, Terra Australis State Nationals. We're all involved in that great cause. But that's not the only subject around here. There's lots of stuff that needs to be brought out and talked about, and the sooner other people get involved and tell us what you want to hear or come on the show and tell us your story or whatever, we look forward to that. Now, because we've always got to have some idea where we're going to go with this, and we don't have a real big idea, we just need enough to get the wheels turning, really. So we've got a word of the day. The word of the day.
Word of the day is glosser.
That's it.
Anyone who's out there that's not from TASA, and even if you are from TASA, you should absolutely know what glossa is, because glossa is one of the base methods with how they have tricked us, deceived us, trapped us. Someone want to go with what glossa is?
The poison in the text.
Yes, it
Well,
is that.
just hang on a sec. If you
You're
look
just
it
looking it
up,
up. Oh, they're just
Oh.
looking it up, Wayne.
no, I looked it up before and I thought it might be where somebody can tell me what it really means after I tell you what the internet thinks it is. Glossa. Yeah, let's go on. A Greek derived word for tongue or language, most commonly referring to the tongue-like feeding structure of insects. All right. Now, does this sound? Just tell me if you think I'm wrong here. Like I might be wrong. So usage, example, and context used in etymology, of course. The glossa is a hairy, extendable tongue in bees used to drink nectar. Did anybody know that? Anatomy, it's used in anatomy. It can refer generally to the tongue or tongue-like. Oh, here we are, linguistics. A journal of general linguistics is an open access journal. I'm not going to go there. Glossa is a village on the island of Skopelos in Greece, known for its traditional narrow streets. It's also a Polish language school in Poland. Now, religion, a famous medieval commentary on the. I'm not going to go any further with that. So here we are talking about our word of the day, which is glossa. And if you casually look it up on the internet, you will find what I found, which is not exactly what we had in mind. So would somebody else like to take over? Somebody must have researched this wonderful word before they come on here this afternoon.
I definitely did this time. I had time to look it all up this time. And like you, I had a general idea of what I thought glossa was. And we've all got a very short definition that it is a poisonous gloss that corrupts the essence of the text.
Yes.
But I did a deep dive for a couple of hours into the word glossa, you'll be pleased to know. And like all words, there's more than one definition for many words. But the one that's been used to deceive us all is the one that the meaning of gloss is a disguise or a mask. The word person derives from mask. So we need to take notice that the meaning of gloss, like the Latin meaning of Latin, actually means a hidden mask, camouflage, disguise, or words that identify the all uppercase glossa text. So in relation to the documents that we're looking at and the trickery of language, we come back to the basics of going to school and what English is. So we all learn English when we're in primary school and we think we've got a handle on it. And then we are introduced to a language that looks like English because it's had a gloss put over it where they write it in all uppercase text, which is neither English nor Latin. So I had to learn a lot of things. I had to learn, okay, so what's Latin? I've never studied Latin. And interestingly enough, many years ago, they used to have Latin as a standard subject in schools. But Latin has to have hyphens between each of the capitalized words to make any sense. So when that hyphen's not there, you're not writing, in Latin. And when it's written like that, we believe we can read it because we know what the capitalized letters sound like when we write them in English. So we make assumptions that we know what we're reading. So I've got here, glosses in American Sign Language. The written language transcription of a sign is called a gloss. Glosses are words from the spoken language written in small capital letters. Now, I don't know if you've ever looked in a Bible, but what they did in the Bible was they've replaced the word Lord or God in many places, and they've written it in all caps. But it's not just all caps. They've gone to the trouble to make them small all caps. So they're the same size as your lowercase letters, but they're capitalized. So that's an awful lot of trouble to go to, isn't it? So clearly it's been done intentionally. So that is a language written in small capital letters to turn it into a gloss, a corruption of the text. Now, there was so much that I found that I don't want to go into it too much, just pick the meanings that pertain to what we're talking about. Another definition as a verb is to try to conceal or disguise something unfavourable by treating it briefly or representing it misleadingly. And then the most important one, I think, is in relation to law. In relation to the maxim, and I'm not going to be able to pronounce these because these are all Latin words, glossa viperina e qui corrodit viscera textus, which means it is a poisonous gloss which corrupts the essence of the text. It has taken me, whoever wrote this, it has taken me 7 years to find the poison in the text, and the answer is dog-Latin, identified in Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition. The language of the illiterate being Latin text based on the grammatical rules of English. In relation to the English dictionary, dog Latin is debased Latin and is criminal, immoral, and constitutes a counterfeit. So there you go.
There you go. Look, Sue, there's no doubt you have just cemented your place on the panel. You have a permanent invite.
That was an excellent description. That was great.
And here was I thinking that it was a hairy tongue of a bee or something that was, and you completely straightened that out for me. And I can't
It
tell
may
you how
well be the hairy tongue of a bee too.
Well, it is, but yeah. So you've got to know the difference, aren't you?
Well, like all words, they sound the same too. Like many words have the same phonics, but we realise they're not the same. So, and we're looking for the ones that can be used to deceive. They're always there somewhere.
Yeah. So and sorry, Sarah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think there's a couple of things with that. I know a lot of people get really hung up on different words because they're like, oh no, that's a military word. Oh no, that's a this word. Oh no, that means this. I know there was some discussion in one of the chats recently. We don't want the term general because, they have generals in the army. We've got to remember we're in charge. Self-governing means just that. If we decide that a word is going to mean something, then that's what it means. If that's the common usage that we want to apply to it, then, that's okay. I know that a lot of people don't say good morning anymore because the morning and the week and the weekend and all of that kind of stuff. And I that's fine. I don't have an issue with that. But I do think that there is a place for us to say, look, this is a word that's in common use, and it's like, I guess the good one is understand. Okay, we all know that in common parlance, like here, where we're talking just between ourselves, we use the word understand to mean to comprehend. Okay. However, if I was in a legal situation or, like a legal/lawful situation, I would not use the word. And this is part of the knowledge base that we're all trying to accumulate now is when and how to use certain words. So that's the first thing is don't look at words and go, that's an evil word, we shouldn't use that. Go, okay, how am I, what's the application? Second thing is if anyone wants to really dig into the whole understanding around glossa, Romley Stewart, Justinian Deception on YouTube. Romley Stewart does a fantastic episode on glossa. And I'll always remember how he tells the story of how he found out about how they use glossa. And so just to sort of, underline what Sue said, anytime that a word is capitalized, italicized, underlined, done in different font, anything like that in a document, it legally and lawfully does not appear on the page. And a really good place to look at this is when you use things like wills. As someone said one day, they said, all of the good stuff in a will is capitalized. So when, Mr. Brown leaves all of his, the whole house to his son Brian, the whole house will be capitalized. Oh, and also my fishing rods in the shed. The fishing rods in the shed will be lowercase English, but my house will be capitalized because that's taken off the page. So that's a really good way to think about how they use caps, all caps. You can see it a lot if anyone watches the Doug and Christie stuff in America. You can see how there's so much fraud that goes on in documents that come out even from your local council. You'll have a local council all uppercase, and then you'll have the local council in lowercase. They'll have you in uppercase, you in lowercase. It's weird. But essentially, any time that something is not written in standard English with, capitals at the start of the sentence and at the first, like at a noun, it's gloss.
It's illegal.
Yeah.
And the best place to find a document full of glossa is a bank document or a government document.
Mm-hmm.
May I say something briefly, if Sarah's
You may.
Yeah, sorry, I yield.
Yeah, I agree with what you've said, but there's a couple of points that I've kind of changed my mind on over the last couple of months. While researching, I found that the rules of English grammar don't actually forbid highlighting and bold writing. There's nothing in there about that. So if there's nothing in there about that, we can't assume it's glossa. However, with the capital letters, yes, because there are rules regarding use of capital letters, and that is glossa. I yield.
Thank you, Ray.
Yeah, thanks, Ray.
I'll jump into there. So that, just to add to it, obviously then it makes the document fraudulent. So the whole document becomes sort of null and void once you've got glossa on there, obviously. But just to go back to what Sarah was saying about words, if I could, I agree 100%, Sarah. We can dictate and decide what the word means. The challenge, though, is how it not indoctrinates, but how it changes our emotions. And how we've got to be careful that if we have been using a word and we've been, indoctrinated to its belief or whatever, its meaning, then we've got to be careful that it's not changing our minds or our thinking by continuing on using it. So I completely get it when we say understand. I say understand all the time, but if I was on the side of the road with a policy enforcer, then I wouldn't use the word because I get the difference there. But there'd be some words that we use when it's sort of changing our mind a little bit if we continue using them. So I think we just got to be a bit careful. But I agree completely. We're in charge of the words. It's up to us. It's a little bit like symbols. Someone said to me, oh, this symbol means that. Well, a symbol, yes, someone has used that symbol for a specific purpose. But if we want to use that symbol for something, then it's up to us to decide what that symbol means. Yes, the Masons use that symbol, and I'd never use that symbol. But, we could use a symbol, and someone can usually always find something with a symbol that means something else. But when I'm using that particular symbol, that's for me. So yeah, I agree with you. We when we're self-governing, we get to dictate what something means because it's our governance. Are you?
Yeah.
I think that's particularly true. I agree, Alan, because I know years ago I'm a colour therapist, and years ago there's this place in Melbourne that sold these umbrellas, and they were huge, but they had all the colours of the rainbow right around them. Like there was a different thing for each colour, and there was like, I don't know, 20 odd colours on there, all the variations of the colours. And I said, God, I love that umbrella. And someone said, "Oh, do you support the gay movement because it's a rainbow umbrella?" I went, "What? No, I just like colour." you know, but it was assumed that I was an LGBTQ supporter, which I'm not. I don't have an opinion one way or another, really. It's none of my business, whatever. Except when, yeah, anyway, well, that's another day. Um, but that was not the meaning I ascribed to it at all. I just love the color, and the rainbow is, according to the Bible, is a promise to everyone. I don't, and it sort of has been probably unintentionally, but it's sort of been hijacked by a movement. And I think that movement has then been hijacked by another movement. And so, you got to be, I think it comes back to knowing who you are and
Yeah.
being able to stand up for what you believe.
May I respond? And I'm going to try and be ever so brief about this. Again, this is the type of tricks that they play. Before I get into that, some background here. Um, the I'm going to cover eventually the nature of reality, God and Baal and the divine name and Yahweh and Jehovah and all this sort of stuff, because I think a lot of people are getting confused that there's another angle here. Keep in mind the Bible we have is in the Western world. It's in modern English. There are other Bibles that precede it in history. We'll come back to that. Not only did these municipal and territorial government do resources pillaging, which we all know about nowadays, but they did things that we don't know about. They did concepts pillaging. They did spiritual pillaging, for example. And then when they pillage something, they corrupt it. Look at every discipline. They've corrupted religion and spirituality. They've corrupted philosophy, namely by starting from a base level that evolution is where we come from. It's atheistic, so man is an animal. He needs taming. He's inherently bad. We need all of these rules and regulations to keep him in check. This is a very modern Western view. It's not a view in other philosophy like Chinese, Indian, Islamic, etc. The arts, they corrupted that. They corrupted sociology and society. They corrupted medicine. They corrupted law.
Well, there you go. Thank you for that, Ray. So look, if you're watching this and you're wondering, you're thinking, wow, that lot of going on a lot about bloody words and all this other stuff, but it's about awareness. We've become aware or been made aware of how we've been tricked and our lives changed through words. Words can be used as a wand or a weapon, and words on paper can actually appear to be a part of the message and not be a part of the message at all. It's all about how we've been deceived our whole life. So I'd like you to take that on board after that little segment, and we'll move on to something else, eh?
Man.
Sarah's kindly done a list of, so where do I pick something from this list here? What's it like to do? No, I don't want to go there. We can do assembly structures or jurisdiction, aspirational ideas for our country. What can we do? What can we, assemblies and living souls, do right now? Now, all of us, the five of us, we're involved in stuff with TASA. And we're doing a bit, all free of charge. We're doing it for love. We love doing it. We're trying to make a difference, and we'd like the show to make a difference, actually. So we have a lot of talk about assemblies. We have assemblies all over the country, and they're growing. And we're growing with them. Let me tell you, it is a big, big learning curve, what we're doing. Now, Alan, I'll speak briefly about this. You came up with something the other day that sort of turned a whole heap of stuff on its head, just about the way we are structured and voting and all of that sort of stuff. Now, it was a brave move to bring that out. because it's not how everybody felt, and it's not how everybody was thinking. However, once you had that realization, you couldn't not say it, could you? It had to be said. So while we're having fun, it's also quite a serious side to it. Now, Alan's, well, it wasn't a little tantrum, it was a very well delivered talk about what we're currently doing. And I'm not going to go right into this, it'll take all the show and all the next one. But we were going down a path, and we were, all of us, the 70 people that get on a call once a week, plus another 3,000 odd or 4,000 around the country. We're all going this way, and Alan said, well, hang on a minute, I think we took a wrong turn. And that's a brave move. And it started a big debate. And the debate is going to rage for a few weeks. But out of that debate will come a solution. Out of that debate will come, well, actually, yeah, we did take a wrong turn. And now we have to, if you don't correct yourself, it's like life or hiking or anything else. If you don't correct the direction, then you could end up in the wrong place. So, well, we do want to have some fun on this show, but there's a serious side too to what we're doing. And I'd just like to say, Alan, if I can get on the call tomorrow night, I think I've found something that might be a solution to what you've put forward. So I'm not going to talk about that on here tonight, but I'll talk about it tomorrow night. And one day, a week or so down the track, we might outline what happened, how it was resolved, and you'll see that we're really doing some serious work as well as talking about, words on paper, and are they on the paper or off the paper? And Ray's showing us 4 different languages in one 90-second thing. What was she, Ray? She was Italian.
She was Italian. Her parents were from Calabria. She's born in Egypt to Italian parents singing the Greek Zorba song in French.
Yeah, amazing.
Well, I mean, like my mother spoke 6 languages, read, write, and speak. My dad 7. That's normal, but now it's sad because of the colonization and the people are fighting to survive with wars and all that. It's down to about 3 or 4, which is sad. But anyway,
I only speak 1, and I don't do that well either. So.
Can I just say, and I didn't hear what Alan put up, and you've got me intrigued now. I'm going to go back and watch the recording of it. I think there's a lot of people out there that feel very uneasy about voicing a different opinion or bringing something up. And I think that there's a lot of people who, when someone does bring something up that's not kind of, in the path, I know a lot of people out there get very frustrated because they're like, we just need decisions made. My experience in TASA is that the more voices get heard, the variety of different voices get heard, but the number of voices that get heard and the more, I don't want to say heated, I want to say contentious, the better the outcome. We're doing something here that has not been done in this country before. We're literally building from scratch a new system. Yes, we have America as a guide, but we're not America. We are not even England. We're our own country, and we have both of those influences nicely mashed together, which is harder because we've got to pull it apart and really go, well, okay, how do each of these serve us? And we've got to come up with something that is going to serve us now and into the future and generationally. The better way for that to happen is for a lot of discussion. to happen around anything, and a lot of voices to be heard, and for people to say, well, hang on, what about that? Because when you have that kind of really, what's the word I'm looking for? When you have that kind of push-pull and that really dragging over all of the bits of whatever it is you're trying to build, you know that when you finally get a decision, it's been well and truly hammered out, and people have discussed it for a long time. And it's been quite heated in a lot of occasions. And people are going to get a bit hot under the collar. If people feel passionate, that's good. I would advise play the game, not the man. Don't abuse each other, but you can giving myself a little leeway here because, everyone on this call knows that I'm not the most quiet, dispassionate person around. It's okay to get it's okay to get a little bit loud sometimes and say, hey, you're not listening, or I'm not making myself heard, or I'm not being understood, and I'm feeling that people aren't getting what I'm saying. We need every voice. We need everyone in this discussion. We need all of the brains trusts out there, and everyone is a brains trust. Everyone has stuff that they know that they don't really know that they know. Everyone's opinion is valuable. So, whatever Alan said, I'm sure it has provoked a lot of discussion. That's a good thing.
Yes.
That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. I yield.
Thank you, Sarah, because this is where I was kind of going with this. There's, I suppose, a key group of people, or a group of people who put themselves out there or ended up out there for whatever reason. They cannot be the only voice. Somebody down the back of the room might have the answer we're all looking for. Mm-hmm. And more people have to step up, speak up. Like, we've all got feelings, and yeah, you're vulnerable when you speak out. You are. You don't want to be, but you are. But basically, the people in this large group have got some manners, mostly, and everything is done in a proper manner. Like Sarah said, sometimes it gets mildly out of hand. Sarah's very vocal, actually. So, Alan, what did it do? Do you think we should briefly just go into that? Because it's a big deal, but it isn't. I mean, we were, I believe, going down the wrong track. Now, this debate is still going. There's going to be some more tomorrow night and some more on Tuesday night, I'd imagine. You want to briefly just an overview of what you did and how did you actually feel? I know it was a considered decision. Did you sort of think that you had to say something, or you've got some knowledge that you have to share, or like, what did it feel like, mate?
Well, first of all, I didn't see it as a big drama because I only put it up because I thought it needed to have discussion. It wasn't like a proposal saying, vote for me, blah, blah, blah. It was just, this is what I think is right. So I put it up as a bit of a proposal to say, hey, let's just have this discussion, really. That's all I wanted to do. And obviously that's going to happen. I do believe strongly in it. Just to put Sarah out of her misery, I'll give a bit of an idea of what it was about. So what I realised was, this was when I was chairing actually, is that the Tuesday night meeting, is that we were often talking about voting on things. And I realised there was, 60 or 70 people on the meeting that are voting. And I was thinking, well, at what point do we start implementing the very structure that we're talking about implementing and implementing in it in our day-to-day use for voting, in that the local assemblies have the voice and have the power and authority, and that is where we should be voting, especially on things big like structures and that sort of thing. And so I suggested that what should be happening is all voting for large things like that should be going back to the local General Assembly to have the vote and have the discussion and hash it out, because that's where all the people are. So instead of having 60 people vote on something, you're having 3,000, which is what I believe should be doing. And the reason for it is that it gives everyone ownership on the decision. Instead of when a decision comes down from what is, theoretically not there, but a higher level, the people in your local assembly don't own that decision because they didn't vote on it. But we need everyone to own the decision, and they all have input. They discuss it at their local assemblies and then vote on it. And then that vote gets implemented at a national assembly. So that's the guts of it, really. But yeah, and I don't believe there's any other right way to do it. I believe the voting should happen at a local assembly because that's where the authority is, that's where the soil is. And I think we have to do that, but it's not my job to say to people you have to. It's my job to bring it up and everyone else come to the awareness that shit, yeah, I think that's what we should be doing. Anyway, so that's what I said really in a nutshell. Are you?
So there you go. And
I think that's a good idea.
yeah,
I think there's a lot of talk around having a National Assembly, and I think, we do. And just to very briefly paint a bit of a background picture here for anyone who's new to this or not TASA or whatever, we're currently in discussion across the country about how we should shape our National Assembly, whether it should be a land and soil assembly joined or a land assembly and a soil assembly. Okay, that's the guts of it. The big thing with the assembly, though, is that, and this is probably one of the hardest things I think for newbies to get their head around, is that the power's at the top. The power's right here, like at the bottom. And so where at the moment nearly everything is centralised in Canberra or in Melbourne or Sydney or wherever, the assembly structure, that power is very decentralised. The power is, in the tiny little communities. If a community doesn't want something, it doesn't have to have something. Obviously, there are some things that still probably should be nationalised. Say, for example, transport, roads and rail and airlines and stuff like that, those sorts of things. The military, would need to be nationalised. I have some views that maybe some things around education might want to be. But these are all discussions for later on. But the power lies in the communities. It lies at the base. And I think what you suggested, Alan, is really enforcing that. It's really making sure that power sits with the people at the bottom, who are the power brokers. And that's where things are going to get discussed. And I think the other thing too is that we all have to get ourselves out of this headspace of, I said this at an assembly, a local assembly meeting we had here last night. If someone is sitting there going, pick me, pick me, pick me, I want that job, you're probably going to go, really? Because what we're looking for is people who go, oh, all right, it has to be done. Okay, I'll put my hand up and do it, which is what Wayne did for Darwin. Someone needed to be the coordinator, so Wayne put his hand up. He didn't want to do it, but it had to be done. And they're the people you can trust because they're not in there to make a career out of it. We've put some fairly restrictive, we've tried to make it fairly restrictive in terms of term limits and stuff with the election process so that people, when they do get elected, they can't serve for longer than a certain period of time, and they've got to have breaks in between, and they can't do things consecutively. We've tried to do that really hard, but there's always going to be people who, want to get there. So there's that. The other thing is, and I'll say it, reconveying is not for everyone. Don't reconvey if you don't want to take part, because reconveying is really about self-governance. And if you would rather hand over the trials and tribulations to whoever of daily life, and God knows daily life has lots of trials and tribulations, don't reconvey. It's not like you'll miss out massively because there's other things going to be happening. There'll be plenty of money flowing around. It's not an issue, but think long and hard because self-governance is not for the faint-hearted. I yield.
In brief, I just wanted to say, yeah, my view, we have to try and get this moving faster because I know we started in the middle of last year and then when we changed direction, that's why we're still doing it, but we need to get it over the line. My personal belief, don't have to agree, is get the National Assembly up and running first and then go down to the local assembly because these buggers are coming at us. There are so many people across Terra Australis in trouble with GovCo matters. We've got to hold them accountable and the assembly is the key. It's the ticket, the only way home to do that. Secondly, I'm sure that we don't have enough people to form, local assemblies everywhere, but we should have enough nationally. That's where we should start. I yield.
Thanks, Ray. Big clap of thunder there. Yeah, well, we're all correct. I don't know what it's going to come down to in the finish, but if we can't really stand or seat the National Assembly without grassroots voting anyway. So, but we'll see where it ends up. And for anybody who's watching and you wonder what the heck we're talking about, I want you to think, we are talking about governance from the bottom up. We're talking about you and me, mums and dads and ordinary people making the decisions that you currently get told by the television, we've just done this, that's how it works now, we've just done this, and here's the news, and too bad for you, fuel's gone up, too bad for you. We talk about a governance structure where everyday people will actually have a hand in making those decisions. Now, if you're unaware, currently we have a corporate government, and it's very common all around the world, is corporate governance. And I'll give you a brief lesson. I'll make it as brief as I can on why this can't work. So you have to think about the hierarchy on this planet, on the whole planet. We were put here by the creator, our creator, whatever you like. Now, you might have another view. You might believe in Charles Darwin and your first cousin's an ape. I personally don't believe that. I believe that we were put here by a creator. And that can be whatever you want in your own mind, and I'm sure there's lots of different pictures of that. So the creator made man and woman, and so man can never be greater than the creator. You can never be greater than that which created you. That's a law of nature, I believe. Now, man, in their wisdom, created corporations and governments. And following what I said before, corporations and governments can never be greater than man. We have arms and legs, blood flowing through our veins. We have a heart, we have a soul, we can make decisions, we can make shit happen. A corporation is a piece of paper that lives in an envelope in a filing cabinet somewhere. And yet, all your life, I'm not a young man, and all my life, I've been told what to do by a corporation. Mum and Dad told me what to do, plus the school teachers and the police and a few other people. But basically, we've lived our whole lives being told what to do by a corporation. And if you think about the hierarchy on this planet, that can never be. It's just not right. It's against the law of nature. We should be telling the corporation. Anyway, something to think about. Where do we want to go from here, people? Any ideas?
Can I throw a
Yeah,
brain teaser in there?
Hey?
Can I just finish off with that? I think it's a great thing, and it's all this was about was to get discussion, and so discussion is going to happen, and hopefully more on Sunday night and more on Tuesday night because yeah, we need that's what it's about. Oh, yeah.
Thanks, Alan. Ray, what were
No,
you
I was
going?
just going to throw a brain teaser out there when you said that the creator can't be higher than the creator. I was going to say, like, because atheism is a very popular view today, and it's the default position for most, in this part of the world anyway. I was going to say, like, how can something come from nothing? I yield.
I have no idea, Ray, and you've gone way too deep for me.
I just thought I'd throw a brain teaser, that's all.
Thank you for that, Ray. Thank you. So yeah, there you go. So it's we're going to look at it's all about awareness, where you're at now and why. We all woke up one morning and realised that, whoops, this stuff's all upside down. This is not the way it's supposed to be. You too can wake up with that feeling. And while we're not rushing to do something about it, if enough people do something about it, then we will certainly end up with change. So, yeah. And you're right, Alan, there will be more discussion, hopefully Sunday, and then I would say again on the Tuesday night meeting, and it does need to be discussed and it does need to be decided and put to bed. And good on you for bringing it up. All right, where will we go from here?
Does Sue want to do the document that we're going to cover this week?
Yeah.
Sue?
I have got it here. I'm just bringing it up on the screen so I can read the notes that I've got here.
Yep.
If I can find the right one.
So this is a document that you would deal with if you reconvey, if you have the same sort of mindset that you might find here on this panel.
I mustn't have got the memo. Did this come out?
Oh, my bad. I didn't
You're right.
include you and Wayne, you and Ray on that because I wasn't sure if you're on the call today. So that's my
That's all good.
bad. I
All good.
apologise.
No worries.
What
Okay,
did you say, Alan?
We know when we're not wanted.
Yeah.
Righto then.
Yeah, and
Okay.
you turned up anyway. Bloody hell.
Okay, so we were going to talk about the certificate of assumed name, which is a part of the full reconveyance, which is where you want to include all the documents for maximum clarity about your position, if you want to let any government officials know. The certificate of assumed name. Now, before I get into what it is, what I'd really like to show people is how they can look these things up for themselves. Because me feeding you these fish is not helping you. You need to learn how to fish for yourselves.
Yep.
So on the TerraAustraliaStatesAssembly.com website.
Excuse me, Suzanne, do you want to share your screen or something? Or?
Well, can I share my screen?
I think Ray will be able to tell you how to do it. If you send me a request, I'll say, yep, that'll be okay.
So where would that?
Hit share at the bottom. I can't believe this. I'm teaching someone IT and I'm hopeless. Aren't I clever?
This is a big moment.
Go to share on the bottom.
This is a big moment in Ray.
Light up in green. Yeah, this is legendary. I can't wait to tell Anita. Push share press share.
Yeah.
And then it'll say send a request because Wayne has to okay it. And then you send the request.
Well, it's asking me if I want to share the whole screen. So if I just
go in and pick the one that you want to do. So at the top you'll see screens, documents, advanced. So flick through them and it'll say, I think you want document.
Oh, you've started screen sharing without permission.
Oh,
There you
Come on then. Can you
there
make
you
it,
go.
Sue, down the bottom on the right-hand side, near the X symbol, there is a slider there, and you can make that bigger. You can slide that along and make this document bigger.
I wish I knew what you were talking about. I think I've got too many things open here. Let me have a little, get rid of some of this stuff. So can you just see the document?
I can see it. I would
We
like
can
it.
we can see the page that you've got up with previous lesson and next lesson at the top of it, which explains what. Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
look at that.
Perfect.
Is that better?
Yep.
Yeah, wonderful.
Okay, now this page that I've got open here, actually I'll go back, is on the Terra Australis States Assembly's website, and I accessed it. I'll go back again into our front page. Okay, so when you hop on, you're going to have this page with home, correct your status, TASA resources, frequently asked questions, and TASA member. Now, under TASA member, you click on the account, the TASA account, and that will bring up this page, which you can click on courses. And under courses, it runs through the document course. So you click on your document course there, and it will take you through, including that you need to have LibreOffice to open these documents now. That's new. It'll take you through every single document down here, what it is, the correct way to fill it in, the correct way to autograph it, and a description of exactly what that document does. So I'll highlight that one, and we get to the certificate of assumed name. Yeah, so if you want to know what any of these documents do, their purpose, this is the place to head to read it. And I'll just briefly say that the certificate of assumed name is for our use, for us to have a lawful person that we can use for commercial purposes. And what we're doing as the living is claiming all the names that have been generated for us without our realization that that's happened. Again, the bank has opened an account. We think it's in our name, but it's not. They've written it in a trust name that they control. And then we've signed for that, giving them permission to do it. So what we've done is we've actually given the bank power of attorney to operate a trust that's in our name. So our name has been hijacked. And what this document does is it recalls all the different variations of your name that have ever been formulated by any department anywhere, and it brings them back under your control. You're claiming control of them all again. So, and it removes their power of attorney from that once you've notified them. So again, this here, it explains here the correct way to insert the information, and when it's written in all caps like that, that's been done intentionally because that's the language that whoever we're trying to communicate with is using. So Anna has formulated these to talk in that jurisdiction, in that commercial jurisdiction. So it reinstates the true and correct owner of the estate name and your estate property and all interest due as of your birth date. We're seizing control of the strawman names, the Seta KV Trust Estate, and we're reinstating it to your true trade name as the administrator. It is a transfer of ownership to the true and real trade name and address, establishes that you're living, standing in the soil jurisdiction as the correct, true and real trade name and address of your estate. And I won't go on too long because we've already gone over an hour. But so all that information is available for anyone to learn through that portal under your member account. So I yield. Now, how do I stop sharing?
Should be up the top if you wave your mouse over
Oh.
the screen.
And go to the very top. Yeah, that's it. Sue, I didn't know about that, that portal part. That's really good.
Yeah, it is really good. I was amused actually. When we were first getting started, like Darren was always on there and explaining the documents. And I said to him about the course, and he said, "What are you talking about? I've never seen that page either." So I have a feeling a lot of people have never just investigated the website deeply enough to know that there is so much information on there. Even the resources and the research, there is some fantastic stuff. You should go through every single item under those tabs on that website. It's amazing information. Yeah.
That's a good point because I was aware of the majority of it over the 4 or 5 years now, but you're right. Maybe I've been out of practice because I didn't know about that. And this is another thing very quickly. I think a lot of people are not looking at the website and not looking at the Telegram pages, and they're wondering where information is, but they've got to put the time and effort in. Are you?
I think we were more solid in our direction when there was no Telegram because the website was the only place that you would go to.
Right.
And now that it's been updated, I'm as guilty as everybody else. I'm so busy trying to keep up with the Telegram information that comes through that I haven't, when I've gone back and started looking through the website again, there's been a lot more stuff added that I was unaware was on there. Which is really exciting for me because now I've got a whole bunch of new stuff to go and reread. A lot more of Romley stuff on there, which is fantastic too.
Okay. So, Alan, go.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I would be happy if we didn't have Telegram anymore and we had one place to go and look for things. Because anyway, I'm over Telegram. But I think we just need to say, just in case anyone is watching this that's new, just got to log in, pay $12, and it's an annual fee just to cover the website costs, and then you can access all those documents, and all those documents are free, effectively. All that work's been done by Judgy and Mookie, and we got access to those documents for free, and there's a huge amount of them in there, and all it's costing you is $12, and that's a bargain for you.
And it's also it can be very confusing for people when they come in with everyone's talking about, the 2-pager. And of course, immediately that turns into 3 pages. So that's always hilarious. But and then we all talk about the 928 package, which is that full suite of documents you just saw on the screen. So even though you can be fully reconveyed doing those, the basic documents and uploading them to the now publishing system through Global, you would be very wise to go through that course and look at all of those documents and fully comprehend exactly what they are trying to teach you about who you are. Like you need to work out who you are and who you are not. And those documents will enlighten you, most particularly the living testimony in the form of an affidavit. That document right there is incredible. I yield.
So if you're relatively new to all of this stuff, I would like you just to remember the word I used before, awareness. It's a very important word, and I don't know how you make somebody aware of awareness. I just know that when you open your eyes and open your ears and start to take some of this stuff in and realise that it's true, that there is a problem in the whole world, and we have an answer to some degree, that if you get to that state of awareness, then you should start firing off a few questions to that email address. And if you want to know more about reconveying, if you want to know more about the paperwork, if you want to know more about the website, ask us a few questions. Otherwise, we might just keep talking shit. We don't want that. So
Do you want to,
You go on,
do
Sarah.
you want a quick update of Anna's documents for the last week? Alan
Yes.
does. She's
Yeah.
had a quiet week for documents this week. It's only been about 4, I think.
I look forward to you summarising it, Sarah. That's great.
So from the 14th of March, so last time we stopped on the 14th of March, where she was telling everyone that Trump was not anointed by Jesus. It's good to know. So after that, she had, hang on a sec, noisy dog. It's what happens when you're live, people. So 14th of March onwards, international notice, continental marshals have been activated. They are able and willing, this is a direct quote, able and willing to pursue felons across state and territorial boundaries and may act as bounty hunters in international jurisdiction. Anyone can volunteer if you have conveyed or reconveyed. So anyone out there that's interested in acting as a bounty hunter or who wants to pursue felons, I can think of a few. Put your hand up. They're looking for people as part of the PKTF. They're doing some really good work, and that's good news because they're not able to act just on American soil, but they can operate elsewhere. I'm not sure whether Australia is a territory of America, and that's another rabbit hole that we can go down another day, or whether we are actually an international jurisdiction. Either way, we're covered by the International Continental Marshals. The next 2 are from Anna Asgrana. Basically, she said Iran doesn't need nuclear weapons. They have hypersonic missiles. They have been run from behind by the Brits and they will take out Israel, blame America, and plan their next play. However, God, source, the true power behind all of us will have the last laugh. The next one is, surprise, surprise, FDA approval, Food and Drug Administration or agency in America, which everyone thinks, oh, well, it's got FDA approval, it must be safe. FDA approval is all about money. If someone can't make money off something, so you can't make money off lemons, the FDA will not approve it. So FDA won't say anything good about lemons because no one can make money off it because it can't be patented. FDA approval basically means they can make money from the consumer. And then the last international notice was put out yesterday. The British Crown stepped off the land in 17. So prior to that, John Locke, I think in 1688, yeah, 1688, had put in a whole lot of kind of laws around what monarchy and the Lord and Duke kind of set could do to people. They hemmed them in about the power that they had, and the Crown was incorporated into that. That was in 1688, and so their powers were restrained, let's put it that way. However, 1702, Queen Anne, I think it was, stepped off into maritime and said, yeah, okay, fine, on land, I can't do anything, but on sea, just watch me. And they've pretty much been doing that ever since. So when we talk about corporations, corporations are in the maritime jurisdiction. That's why we can't, we as living men and women can't live in maritime. We have to live on the land and soil. However, they have formed all these corporations and they have been doing it ever since to perform all these nefarious deeds around the world. And basically, she's saying that they need to be shut down and brought to account. Now, that was an international notice that she sends to the powers that want to be in America. Keep forgetting my mouse battery just died, so it's not moving. And that's pretty much it. So there's only 4 this week.
Very good. We must never do the Judge Anna updates early in the show, otherwise Alan will leave. Must always leave it till near the end.
Yeah. Anna, if you just as an aside, and this is because we were talking about it last night and we've mentioned a little bit here, and people are like, we can't do anything. As an assembly, you don't need to be elected. You don't need to have a seated assembly to be able to write notices. You might have a whole lot of really angry people in your local assembly, and they might not like what council's doing or what GovCo's doing or whatever. All they have to do is write notices, not letters, but notices. And there is a difference between the two. If you want to learn how to write a notice, read Anna's stuff. Some of her notices literally are like half a page. They're not big, long things. They're not full of legalese. They're plain English. And somewhere in those documents, the 928 package that we're talking about, it actually specifies that we as living men and women will be communicating in plain English. And that's, we're declaring our right to do so. And so we're going to. So, you know, again, going back to what you can do right now, the group of you feel passionately about something that's going on in your local area, start writing notices, learn how to do it. There's resources out there. alor.org has got some really good books written by someone. I can't remember the guy's name. Sue might remember it. I'll talk to Wayne and we can put that in the description too. So there you go, people. You got a lot. Justinian Deception is a good one to watch. alor.org. Who else did we talk about on this chat? Anyone?
You better send me those
I'll send you the links. We can put them in the description.
links. Put the TASA links in there. And yeah, so has anybody got any final words for the wrap up? Gone a bit over time, but
No, I just wanted to say thanks, Wayne, Sarah, Sue, and Alan. Thank you and have a good week.
absolute pleasure, mate. You can come back anytime you like. We'll keep sending you an invitation. If you can't make it, just say
Thank you.
happy
And
to
if there's
have you on.
anyone else out there that would like to become a regular host, please reach out and let us know, because we're looking to have a rotational kind of group of people, because like Easter Saturday, I'm not going to be able to do it because I'm going to be hopefully on a cruise in the middle of Kakadu, so can't see me dialing in from there.
And if you're one of those people that, you know, isn't quite game to speak up sometimes, come on in. Say anything you like, eh? Don't get in trouble on here.
Yeah.
Good practice. Good practice.
Good practice. I like that.
We're all friends here. So just remember, if you've got any suggestions, we're still looking for a name. We don't know what to call this. So name and description, we need to give it a name. So seagull4451@outlook.com. And thank you for everyone for watching the last show, or the first show, because we didn't advertise it. We just put it out there. So it's been watched, which was great. Hopefully this one will get a bit of traction, and we'll continue to get bigger and better at this.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Sarah. And
Thanks, Sarah.
I
Thanks,
just wrote
everyone.
down here a little while ago, tin hats and other stuff. So you might put that on the list. All right. I thank you all for your time and your wisdom and your help. We'll see what we can get happening for next week. Thank you so much.
Have a great week, everyone.
See you later.
See you, everyone.